I want to introduce you to Taylor Thompson. I'm so thrilled to have her joining us today. Taylor has over 28 years experience in network marketing, from a goal that started out with just to earn $800 a month so that she could move from daycare to mom care. And I love how she explains that. I think every mom can totally feel her heart with that, to building multiple 7- and 8-figure businesses in this industry. Now, for the last 16 years, she specialized as a business strategist, helping not only leaders, but also companies to increase sales. She's the co-author of the Thompson Rule, 80, 15, and 5. The foundation to building long-term stability in network marketing. And that's actually one of the ways I first became a fan and was introduced to Larry Thompson and to Taylor Thompson. She's also the co-author of the LT Wealth Building Academy and the co-founder of the Millionaire Training Book Club. And she's the founder of the She Network. So Taylor, thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule, for making the time to hang out with us here today.
Thank you so much for having me, Laura. Thank you so much, Janine. It's so exciting to be here with you ladies today.
So tell everybody just a little bit of background. How did you first hear about network marketing? Did it find you, or did you find it, or how did it happen?
No, I was in pursuit, 28 years ago. You have to think about, there was no cell phones, there was no internet, there was no this, like phones were wired to the wall. We actually had voicemails that you had to physically listen to. And I had just had a baby, and I was the girl from the other side of the tracks. I was a West Texas girl, born and raised, but I did go to college, and I thought I was going to be this successful, businesswoman, corporate woman. That's what I saw myself doing, really out of the box. But, looking when those baby blues the very first time, everything changed. And I couldn't bear the thought of putting her in anybody else's arms. And so I set on the journey, and I started answering ads in the newspaper. And some of your listeners may not even know what a newspaper is. I don't know, but there was like the one ads, work from home. And I answered crazy ads, ladies, like, making beaded jewelry and stuffing envelopes. And and so what was interesting is, like, in between all of these little journeys, I was answering these ads. Now Herbalife, and I'll just tell you that, this probably is a generic, and that's fine, but I will just tell you at that point, Herbalife, there was not a lot of companies on every corner. And so I was answering these ads, and they were telling me about Herbalife, and I was like, gosh, I just don't want to sell anything. Like, that just sounded so repulsive to me. Because now the funny part of the story is, there was this little redheaded lady that lived across the street from me, and she had all these bumper stickers all over her car. It said, "Lose weight now, ask me how." And I was like, oh my God, definitely, I don't, that's not for me. And but I was, after going through several things that didn't work, and I was answering ads, and as I got to the final ad, they told me about this little couple that lived not very far from where I lived in West Texas, in this little small community, that was making $10,000 a month. And I thought, wow, I think as you go through things, your ears and your perspective changes. And I heard it with a different set of ears, and it happened to be Herbalife. And I thought, gosh, if they can make that kind of money, surely I can make 800. And that's how my journey started. And I never looked back. Like, my very first week, I made $400. My very first month, I made $2,400, which set my course. I got a set of millionaire training tapes in my distributor pack. I was really, really blessed and fortunate to be in this learning, teaching environment that allowed, like, somebody like me from the other side of the tracks to be cultivated and have success and be in what I call this incubator type environment. And it's been, Laura, it's been such a blessing. I've now, I was able to raise my 3 girls in this space as a stay-at-home mom, and then even as a single mom. And I just feel so blessed and so fortunate. So, it didn't find me. I certainly was chasing it down by it, by every intents purpose.
I love that. I love that there are people out there looking for it. So tell us more about your experience in building and how it's led you to where you are and what you're doing now.
Well, I mean, so my experience, I mean, like I said, I starting out, you never, I would have never seen myself as being a top earner or leader or anything. It was an evolutionary process. And, I called myself ignorance on fire. Like I didn't know anything. And the less I knew, the more success I had. And it was only whenever I became educated, with all this, the gurus and all of the things. And then whenever I started complicating my business by educating people and educating people, and I didn't realize how complicated I was making it. No, and nobody was wanting to join. So I went through all of those stumbling blocks like most people do. And it was, you remember I mentioned that little lady from across the street that had all the bumper stickers. Well, the funny part of the story is she ended up being my sponsor. And so, she was, it took an ad getting me in the newspaper whenever we were literally right across the street from each other. But she gave me some very wise business um, building tips. And she was like, just keep it simple. Nobody wants to know all that stuff. And, just answer the questions with, I don't know, and tell your story. And, as crazy as that sounds, ladies, I did it. And it was a really, really hard transition for me because, I knew all the answers, but for me to say I don't know and tell my story, but whenever I started doing it in a real fun, simple way like that, that's whenever things grew and grew to, I mean, like exploded for me. And so I learned a very valuable lesson from that. And that's probably a lesson that I've been able to transition or to carry forward with me in having such confidence of building businesses, no matter how techy our worlds are today. Really staying true to fundamentals, staying true to business building basics, that no matter what kind of tech, what I call tactics or techniques, especially in social media world that we're in today, you've got to stay true to the fundamentals. You've got to stay true to the principles. You've got to stay true to allowing for the everyday person to be able to do this business. If they can't see themselves doing what you're doing, and that doesn't communicate or translate, then you're not going to be able to create that culture or that incubator impact that I was referring to whenever I started. And so, fortunately for me, as went through the years, I mean, I ended up marrying my mentor. I don't know, that's a whole nother podcast in and of itself. But we actually took this information. We started working with companies and leaders, and really, I mean, this was like back in 2005. This was before social media really started. And as social media really evolved, we were sharing this message, and the message that you mentioned, the Thompson Rule, which is something that we've always held true to, which is 80% of your business will be that component of people that just need an extra $500 to $1,000 a month. And whenever social media hit, back in 2009, 2010, whenever it really got on the rise, people are like, oh, that's old school stuff, nobody wants to hear about that. And but we stayed true to our message, even though people weren't connecting with it. We still stayed true to our message, and now it's come full circle, because now more than ever, people are desperate. We're whenever we talk about network marketing is not competing with network marketing anymore. We're talking about, we have a whole technology space of a gig economy where people, whenever you talk about Uber and Lyft and TaskRabbit and all of these things that are competing, allowing the everyday person to make money from their phone without training, very in a fun, simple way, we're now competing in that realm. So we have to keep things in that fun, simple, magical realm to compete in that world, knowing that our audience is that true 80%er. So it's been really quite a fun journey, to be honest with you, Janine. I mean, we're having a blast doing what we're doing.
This truly is a business whose time has come, for sure. And I love what you said too about getting back to just telling your story. I think what happens is we get in this business and we do overcomplicate it, but there is nothing more powerful than a really good story and somebody that believes what they're saying, because there's a sound to that. So
Yeah.
what do you love the most about this business?
Well, for me, I mean, gosh, I don't know that there's one thing that I would say I love, but it's kind of a, honestly, I mean, to be honest with you, there's kind of a love-hate relationship I mean, I'm being really honest. Um, because what I love about the business is that it totally changed my life and afforded me such a luxury that I would love for every mom to be able to have that luxury. And for me, that's one of the reasons why I went, instead of building a business, went into the training and coaching field, because I always believe that time management is always doing something that someone else can't do. And so being able to harness those fundamentals and be able to take that to the marketplace and to be able to help equip or to help communicate that you are strong enough, you are good enough, you have what it takes. Because that message has gotten lost over the last several years. That message has gotten lost, and when you come into network marketing, and this is the part that I don't like, because that message has got lost. Because now people, and when you come into network marketing, they're trying to teach you to be a marketer instead of a network marketer. And there's a big difference between those two. Network marketing is fun, simple, magical. It's simple to do, but it's not easy, right? What we do is simple, and whenever that's communicated for that 80%er, for that everyday person, because it truly is the average person's best chance to create an above average income when it's positioned right. But nowadays, the part that I don't like is whenever you come in and they want to teach you all the techniques of how to make a post and build a blog and make a brand and how to do a TikTok and how to do a live video. Oh my gosh, it's so complicated. If this would have been like network marketing whenever I started, you would have lost me. I would have been, I can't do that. That's too hard. That's too complicated. So, I mean, like, I feel like I'm up on the mountaintop shouting, it's easy, it's fun, simple, magical. All you need to do is use your products or service, talk to people, tell them your story and other people's story, and demonstrate those results. Simple. It's easy. You don't have to do all that. And so the part that I hate about it is that there's been a lot of really great people dead on the side of the road, lost because they just didn't feel they were good enough. They just didn't feel like that they could do all of these complicated things. And so, yeah, so I love it, right? But then there's that part that I'm like, I just don't want people to feel like that they're not good enough. I feel like I want people to know that they can do this, because it truly is the average person's best chance. So I don't know. I hope that helped answer that question.
Oh, I know. I love what you're saying. And I guess the redeeming uh, answer here is that you can bring yourself into this and you can do it different ways. But it's important to not get intimidated or worried that, oh my gosh, I can't do what all these other people are doing. And, I'm not good at social media and I'm not good at TikTok and all those things, but, you still can do this business and you still can bring your own personal strengths into it. But I totally do get what you're saying. Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, we love that message, Taylor. In fact, we did a recording recently with 5 generations, because we were sort of curious about how does each generation feel and approach their network marketing business. And what was such a revelation to me is that the core root of whether someone engaged with this business or not had nothing to do with what generation, had nothing to do with what like tactic they were using or technique they were using. It had all to do with things that don't change, which is their belief in themselves, their belief in the company, and their ability to convey that and to, you know, have a conversation with someone else, engage in with someone else. So tell us a little bit about the 80, 15, and 5 rule. For anybody that's listening that doesn't know what that is, will you explain a little bit about that?
Yes, thank you so much. Well, you know, to your point, Laura, is belief determines behavior.
Mhm.
And when it's so, and to what you said and what you just said about the generations, like the biggest thing, that challenge that I think that we face as a distributor, as a building a team and building a team around you, is whenever you can harness belief and get and allow them to feel like they're good enough, right? And so this really ties into the Thompson Rule. And you know, so many times, you know, we hear this language, you know, the language is you go big or go home, or, you know, there's so much there, there's so much language that really does not create inclusivity, but it really drives exclusivity. And so whenever you think about your business as a whole and you break it up, some people want to, they distort it and they say 80-20, but it's more defined than this. Whenever you think about 80% of your business will be the people that maybe just come into your business as a consumer, and maybe they buy in it and get it to where they want it at a discount. And maybe they might share their story enough to where they sell to a few friends or family members enough to pay for their own product. You know, that's kind of, you know, an evolutionary type mindset. And or they come in and then they start seeing, oh, that's all I have to do is use the products and share what's happened with me. Yeah, that's all we do every single day. And I just share the stories and they're like, oh, I think I can do that. Remember in my story, I said, oh, I don't want to sell anything. I mean, who wants to sell anything, right? But ladies, like, we know, like, if we have a pair of shoes that we find at Nordstrom's, the first, you know, everybody says, where'd you get your shoes? Oh my gosh, the sale at Nordstrom, they have this pair and I've almost bought 10 pair and blah, blah, blah. We're naturally conversational, sharing how we feel about a product or service. That's natural for us. And so whenever you create that kind of environment in this 80%, that allows them to see that they can make 500. We used to say 500 to 1,000, but the stats that we have currently is $500 to $1,500 a month. Now, if you think about 15%, so let's just say we have this 80% of your business and they're in this pool of people, and this is 80% of your business. You want to create your environment, you want to create your training, you want to create everything that you do. Your whole culture is built around this model right here, right? You're speaking to this model, because what will happen is, as belief determines behavior, the more that they believe, because as they start accelerating, getting more customers, the belief in themselves, maybe I can do more. And you've created this incubator, you know, inside of the stories, and people start, maybe I can do more. Maybe I can get a little team going. What happens is there will be 15% that come out of that pool of the 80 that want to make 500 to 1,500 a week. So that is that's 15% of that. Well, what happens is they start developing in the 15%. There will be 5% that come out of that. That will be 500 to 1,500 a day. Now, most of the time, people start categorizing people by rank. They were like, oh, well, you're a 5%er. Oh, well, you're a 15%er. You can't determine that for someone else. They only determine it by themselves. and it's determined by desire. It's determined by activity, because you can have somebody at the very top echelon or the top rank of your company performing as an 80 percenter. And most people are like, well, wait a minute, that doesn't, no, it's by rank. It's not necessarily by check. It's not necessarily by rank as determined what level you are. It's determined by desire of activity level in that space. And so it's a really great foundational piece whenever you're thinking about building your business and how you're creating your culture that becomes inclusive versus exclusive. Because so many times people create environments and they say things and they use language that isolates people, that makes people feel like I'm not good enough, I don't fit in there, and they feel uncomfortable. So you have to create an environment that makes them feel good about you, it, whatever it is, and themselves. And whenever you do that and you create that kind of a culture, then you create that incubator effect that allows for people to grow based on their desire, based on their own activity. So it is such a phenomenal thing whenever people get and they have the lights go off and they have the aha moments and they're like, wow, it really is, it's changed so many people's business and their mindsets around their business.
Well, I even see it with gyms and even with Peloton, because when you can, what it's an example of this to me in real life example is when I'm running a company or leading an organization and all I'm talking about is top producer stuff, like recognizing top producer stuff, money, results, whatever. I'm basically alienating all of the other folks who think, well, I'm not valued, I'm not appreciated because all they're talking about is top producer stuff. And so what I love about this is it is all about saying, I see you, and what you do matters. And I don't care if you just show up for this call every week, that's important. And I don't care if you just share a tool or have one conversation a week, that matters and that's important. And that took a lot of courage. And that makes a huge difference in your business, because the 15 percenters and the 5 percenters, let's face it, they're going to do it anyway. They're going to figure out, they've got their own self-motivation and desire is going to drive them with initiative to do it anyway. But when you alienate the largest part of the group, then it's just such a lost opportunity to love and serve people in what happens there. So you can tell I love it.
Again, it's so exciting that you get it so to the level that you're sharing it, because I mean, and you mentioned this, and this is an analogy that we've always explained the 80, 15, and 5 is with the gyms. Ladies, there are probably a lot of ladies that are listening right now. You would probably connect with this whenever you think about, okay, you would join a gym, like if you were to go to Venice, like in Gold's Gym in Venice, a lot of ladies would be a little intimidated to go join the Gold's Gym in Venice Beach. Why? Because it's for the 5 percenter, and like I've seen ladies like going, okay, I want to join this gym, but I've got to lose weight first. Okay, there may be a problem if you think you have to lose weight before you join the gym. Is it for the 80 percenter? So whenever you create that inclusive environment, like, okay, hanging around the juice bar, if that's all they do, right? Great, because what's going to happen? They're going to see the 15 percenter, the one that's over there on the treadmill, the one that's over there lifting a few weights, are like, maybe if she does that, maybe and looks like that, maybe I can too. And it's the window dressing, and it's the stories inside the incubator that allow for that visualization of desire to increase. They do it in churches. I mean, churches are the same way. Like it's logical. Makes sense.
For sure. Hey, since we talk a lot here about the misunderstood side of MLM, have you ever encountered folks that don't understand network marketing business? And what's the most common thing you run into?
Was that one of those pyramid things? Oh my gosh, like gosh, man, my family still to this day keeps wondering when am I ever going to get a real job? I mean, like your family can be probably one of the worst people. I think that's probably one of the biggest misconceptions about what network marketing, multi-level marketing is they think it's, a pyramid, or, they're like, oh, you're going to make money off your friends and family. Well, yes, of course I am, because the marketplace pays for value. And if I value what I'm talking about, I should get paid for it. That's the way business works. And most people think whenever they think about a business, they're like, oh, I don't want to make money off of my friends and family, or, and so it's like their mind goes like, they turn into a different human being. It doesn't make that part never makes any sense. So whenever you think about, I always use this kind of analogy, and this may help some people. What I love about network marketing, and whenever you're explaining network marketing, it is the best way for you to leverage your time and to create residual income. And most people don't understand what residual income is. If you're in a job, right? If you have a job and you are an employee and you have an employer, you're literally trading your hours for dollars. You are saying, I'm going to work this many hours for this much pay. Whenever you talk about network marketing, multi-level marketing, then you're able to leverage other people's time. Because if I can sell a product and trade this hour for this dollar, but if I show you how to do the same thing and you're making your own money, I make a little bit of everything that you do. Why? Because I showed you a value. I showed you how to make a business. And so for me, whenever you think about the biggest pyramid scheme, would probably be corporate America, because the janitor will never out earn the CEO. That's never going to happen. But what I love about network marketing is it levels the playing field, because you could be in your business and be making your own money, and I could come in today, and based on my desire, based on my activity, I could out earn you next year. I could go past you. I could surpass you. So it's really limitless as to, based on whatever your desire is, based on your willingness to do the work, based on your teachability and what you bring to the table. So yes, I've faced it all the time. And, I always look at it this way: what people aren't up on, they're down on.
Oh, that's
I like
good.
that. That sounds like a good quote to keep.
Mhm.
So you've been in this business, you've been around for a while. What do you think is the most important factor to somebody really achieving success in this business?
Well, okay. So whenever you say success, I mean, that may be huge variables,
Sure.
for many different reasons. Um, what may be successful to me may not be successful to you. So I think that's all, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, conceptually. Um, you know, I actually went through this whole process whenever I came into the business, and I was I wanted to make an extra $800. And I remember being, making a multiple six figures at the time and going through a horrible divorce. And it was at the worst time. I mean, I was in the pit of life. And I remember leaving a meeting crying because I didn't qualify for something, some promotion or something that was going on. And I remember leaving that meeting not feeling good enough. And I thought, this is ridiculous. I came into this business so I can make $800, and I'm crying because I don't feel good enough when I'm making multi six figures. So here's the thing, so it's all determined based upon, for me, it's just based upon you know, what is it, you know, is it, why are you, what is your ultimate why? Right? For me, it was about mom care versus daycare. I'd already achieved that. So everything else should have been gravy for me. So you've got to get outside of looking at what other people are doing and what other people are saying, and you've got to focus in on what your values are, what your principles are, what determines the value system for your life. So I think that is a, you know, that varies with every person. But I think for me, the success that for me, what's determines success is that I have been able to never work outside the home. I have been able to be at everything that my daughters ever did growing up. You know, they're now in their 20s, and you know, I look at their life and I look what the kind of young women that they've turned into be, and I'm like, every day I thank God. I'm like, thank you, Lord, you know, that I was afforded that kind of luxury and privilege to be able to do that. And now I'm just looking forward to being able to do that with my grandbabies at some point. So I don't know if I answered your question, but I hope I did.
No, that was great. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Taylor. That shines a lot of light on that, because people ask that question a lot, you know, and I appreciate that you clarified about, you know, success looks different, which kind of goes back to that 80, 15, and 5 as well. We want to wrap up with just something fun. So tell us something fun that has changed your life for the better, that you're loving, that's made your life easier. You know, what's something that you're enjoying these days?
Well, okay, ladies. So I have to tell you, like, I mean, so many people go, like, they're telling, like, they asked Larry and I, like, when are you guys, like, why are you still here? Like, why are you still involved? Like, why are you still working? And I mean, I have to tell you, and I think we prefaced this before we got on today, is that probably having more fun right now than we've ever had by, you know, we just launched our book, which is the Millionaire Training. It just celebrated 40 years. And to be able to put this book, you know, this was an audio cassette that was given to me that I built my business around. And now to have it in a book form and to be able to put it in people's hands and to still see them getting the same value that I got 28 years ago and see them incorporate it inside of their business, to see the ahas, to see the light bulbs go off, to see these everyday people and like crushing it in their business because they're equipping themselves with self-responsibility, self-determination, self-motivation. I mean, I'm having more fun at what we're doing than I ever have in our entire business career, watching this unfold for everyday people and seeing them have success at their fingertips just by doing the basics. I don't even know how else to explain it. And I know that sounds like, wait, you're having fun doing that? Yes. Like, it's so much fun to watch it. It's almost like you ladies are moms, like, you know, whenever you see your child walk for the first time, or you see them, you know, like do things and you're like, wow, that's my kid. That's the way I feel right now. I feel like I'm watching this unfold, and it is so inspiring. I can't even tell you. It brings, sometimes hearing the stories brings me to tears. I don't even know what else to say. But yeah, I know that
That's
sounds,
great.
it may sound lame, but we're really having a lot of fun.
Book clubs can be so fun. I mean, book clubs can be so engaging and so fun. So we're going to be sure and put the link to what it is that you've got going on with that in the show notes so people can look that up too. One of the last things we like to ask, Taylor, is we believe, and it's been my experience, that most people involved in this industry are super generous, and they're just giving by nature and by heart. What are some of the causes or something that you are giving back to these days?
Okay, so so a couple of things. So first of all, we give to our church first and foremost. We're tithers. I mean, we're very big biblically principled tithers. Like, we believe in that. That's what the scripture says. We do give to multiple ministries: Joyce Meyer Ministry, Hands of Hope, Larry Huck Ministry, which Holocaust survivors through Israel. Those are two big ones that we do. And then Kenneth Copeland Ministries, those are the three ministries that we give to every month. But one of the things that I do within the She Network, which is a women's network that I just launched, it's a generic women entrepreneur group that that basically, because of my relationships with top leaders inside of the industry, that I wanted to create an environment for women to be able to collaborate and not compete, and create where they can come in and really, glean from each other's experiences and stories and all of their excellence. So it's called the She Network, Sharing Her Excellence Network. And what we do is that through the membership platform, we give to, it's called PCI Global, it's Project Concern International. And I was just really fortunate to go last year to Africa. And through third world countries, basically what they do is they educate women inside of these villages, and they equip them. So $50 will educate a woman for 18 months, equipping her with business building skills that she can bring to her village and be able to leverage inside of her community. And so through this project, that we were able to see women that were having their own businesses inside of their villages, from bakery to having like fruits and vegetable stands, through sewing, through various different skills, and to be able to harness that in a business and then be able to employ other ladies inside of that business. And it was so inspiring to see this, because what was happening is not only were they being educated, but now they were bringing their children in and educating them. So we were see like the ripple impact that was creating. So whenever you become a member from my platform, I take 10% of that and it goes into PCI Global or women empowerment, and helping women, educate women with businesses inside of third world countries. And so I'm super passionate about that, because I saw it work firsthand, and to see what was happening, the ripple impact that was going on with inside of these villages is insurmountable. So so that's outside of the ministry, that's the women empowerment side that I love to give to.
I'm so glad that you shared that. And we're going to provide a link to the She Network as well. That is amazing and fantastic. I'm so glad that you're doing that and paying it forward in just so many ways. So thank you, Taylor. Thank you so much for joining us today. Janine, did you have anything you wanted to say in closing?
Oh, this was just so fun getting to know you and hearing about what you're doing. And thank you so much for everything you shared.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you so much for having me here. It was fun.